And you're now live.
Thank you, Ayse. So welcome everyone to this evening's FBS chat. Always a pleasure to do these interviews. Always learn so much. Thank you, Jacek, joining us from Lodz. I hope I've said that right. The Polish. I hope the Polish community can forgive me. From Poland.
And I won't try to say anything in English.
Okay. And always our special friend Gil, who tonight isn't in Columbus, Ohio. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah,
yay!
Thank you, Gil.
Yep. I'm working on my Southern accent.
Okay.
My U.S. Southern accent.
Yeah. So Jacek, are we? The conversation I'm always fascinated to know how you came across solution-focused brief therapy. I know you've been working with this model for a long time. So where were the origins? Where did you first discover this way of working?
I knew that you started probably from that,
Yeah.
And that's very boring, I would say, because I think it's a very similar story. Of course, they were a lot of details that can make this story a special one in a way. But generally speaking, I met Ayse. That was something, that attracted me to solution focus. Well, you really want to hear the whole story?
Yeah, I'm fascinated with stories. I love stories, especially with Ayse or Steve. Yeah.
Well, that was the situation after Poland got independence, after the fall of the communists fall down, and actually that was the second year of after this event, this political event, and I got some information about solution focus, very general informations, and I was fascinated with these ideas that I knew, really fascinated, that were totally different from the way I used to do psychotherapy, because I was trained to be psychotherapist, and also about how to deal with dependency, because I was working with mostly alcohol dependent and drug dependent person also. And I got the news that was the first announcement for the conference, family therapy conference, that was going to be held in Jyväskylä in Finland. And I decided that I need to go there to meet that person who's going to share such an unusual way of working with the client. I was fascinating for that was totally different from the way I was taught how we should do that, how we should help people.
So Jacek, you first read about solution focus?
Yes, a little bit, in very general way. Yes, in very general, very few information actually.
But enough for you to see that it was so different than you were practicing.
Totally different. For example, Ayse was going to have a workshop on this conference about working with alcohol dependent without the resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taught that we first need to break through the resistance of the dependent person. So it was the opposite point, totally opposite view of what we can do in therapy. And I was so fascinated that I decided I need to go there to the conference. And of course, that was, that's the other story, but that was not so easy. It took me a few days on the train to go there. And I spent the whole conference looking for Ayse, actually, I was not very much interested what was going on there, because I wanted to meet her. And I met her on the very last day of the conference, very last day, very last tea break, coffee break of the conference. Everyone go to the rooms, and there was a small group of people, looking like some, people from Asia. Talking about something, and I was in despair, and I decided, well, I need to ask them. I was asking everyone, at the conference, anyone at the conference, if anyone can tell me who is Insu. And no one was able to tell me. And I went to this group on the last coffee break, and I asked, maybe Insu Kimberg. I'm looking for Insu Kimberg. And a small lady turned back to me and said, "Oh, I'm Insu." And that was like a miracle, So that was funny story. And well, we have a conversation. Well, it was a time of for work in groups, but she spends few minutes with me. We have a conversation. She was so kind to tell me that she will be in contact with me. She invited me to go to join the workshop she was going to have there after the conference workshop. But I did not have money to afford to go to the workshop. So I decided I will be in contact with her. I corresponded with her. We sent mails. We sent letters. And she decided to go to Poland to teach our colleagues the same year or the next year. I don't remember really. Maybe even that was the same year in the autumn. She came with Steve to Poland, and they presented on a small conference we organized in Łódź, the city I'm from, and that was the first Solution for Queues workshop in Poland. So that's the story.
About what year was this?
Sorry, what year? 91. 91. She was in 91. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I get some news in 90, and I started to be interested in Solution for Queues in 90, but she came to Poland in 91.
So that was still very much in the early days of solution-focused therapy.
Well, yeah.
Do you know?
But we were not the first. We were not the first. English, the brief team was the first, probably, or people from Korzybski. They were much earlier than we.
It's a fascinating story, because what you've told us is that you traveled to Finland, and it wasn't an easy journey by the sounds of it.
No.
After only really having read about Solution Focus and wanting to meet Insu, and by chance she turned around and introduced herself, but you still couldn't afford to go to her talk. I mean, what drove you on this journey to Finland? Why didn't you just stay and do what you were doing?
Sorry again?
Yeah, so this journey that you undertook is almost, do you know what? It sounds like a pilgrimage, Jacek.
Well, it was. It was in a way.
Yeah. So, what was it about what you were doing at the time, and what this could offer you, that made you take that kind of journey and that pilgrimage? What was it that hooked you?
I think that at that time of my life, of my professional life, first of all, I need to say that I was quite successful in the way I was doing that time with my clients, Well, but still, I think I was tired, When I heard about the possibility to work with people without this resistance, that was something, feel free. totally free, not to have to fight so heavy with people to help them,
So when you first started using it with clients, what was your experience of that? What was your reaction?
Wow, freedom. I felt free, that was something really unusual. And that is something, I consider to be the biggest benefit from being a solution-focused practitioner and from offering my, let's say, services, my help to my clients. I think that being solution-focused, I'm able to feel free from many things, and I need to feel free actually from many things. That's my feeling, that's my belief. But secondly, I'm also supporting my clients to regain their freedom. That's what I think, because I think that that's a big part of my work, to help people who feel to be stuck somewhere in some kind of a trap, to feel free again. I think that's the best benefit, the biggest benefit people can have.
And you mentioned freedom quite a few times and without resistance. So what was it about this way of working that gave you that freedom? What was it in particular when when you met with your clients that gave you that freedom?
Well, when I was trained before, because as I sent you some kind of curriculum vitae, yes, about myself before this conversation, I mentioned that I was trained in Gestalt, I was trained in bodywork, I was trained in Ericksonian, in several approaches before. And any of these, I feel that in spite of the fact that in each of these trainings, I was told that, everything is on a client's side, that the client has the right and abilities to proceed the change, not the therapist. Still, I was taught, I think, I should say I was taught, I was in a way supported in a belief, to have a belief that I am that I am the one who is making the change actually for the client's life. And when I get familiar with solution focus, and when I started my practice with solution focused practice with my clients, I was like I was allowed to tell the client, I was allowed to feel that everything is on the client's side, actually, that the client is the master who's making the change, actually. I'm just asking questions. Yeah. And of course, I know that solution focus has changed over these years, from a sort of, wouldn't say strategic, but I would say more formal, more structural approach, like it was at the beginning, to more conversational, if I can say, approach, conversational way of working with clients. So that's a big shift in my way, but still it's a shift which is absolutely about this not taking responsibility by the therapist, that the responsibility is on the client side. I'm responsible only for my questions. I'm responsible only for creating a possibility for the client.
Yeah.
You know, it's like today I got, for example, a conversation with a very nice, very, very wise, very nice guy who came to me with his problems with his son. A son has some kind of a brain surgery some years ago. So he's, in terms of psychopathology, he can be diagnosed to be organic, organic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He has, is not able to, he has some mental disturbances. That's clear from, if you would like to diagnose him in the typical way, the medical way. But this guy is looking for solutions for his family, what to do to help his son to have a better life. Doesn't matter, how long this life can still be, how long his son will live, because it's not sure. And I was asking him questions. I was just trying to complimenting good things he was telling me, And he was, from time to time in this conversation, he was coming to conclusions that, well, when I'm talking, that was his words. When I'm talking to you, I got this idea that when I'm talking to you, I understood that he was who came to the conclusion, that he was who was, having these ideas, not me. I was not proposing that. I was just asking questions. I was just offering my support, nothing more. And he was the one who was, having all these wise, good ideas. That's fascinating for me, actually. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh man.
Just
I'm sorry. I'm over. What to say? Over emotional or whatever I can say. Probably in this conversation. Maybe I will be more English, more calm.
No, Jacek. I love emotional conversations. Absolutely brilliant. I love it.
That's the Italian English.
Yeah. Oh, gentlemen. Yeah, definitely. Because I was saying to Gil earlier before you joined that I met a family in the office for the first time who I'd only ever met over this kind of format, like through Zoom conversations, and just that energy you get from being close to other human beings in a room, and it brought so much joy just to talk about what they'd managed to achieve since the last time I saw them over Zoom. And it was beautiful. It was just a wonderful, uplifting conversation, even though they've been through such horrible times.
And that's the second thing I love about Solution Focus, that we can see people flourishing.
Yeah.
That's something unusual, We do not need to focus on all these difficulties, on this, heavy things, which of course that's also a part of life.
Yeah.
But we can still focus on something wonderful, and that gives me so much hope, when I see people just getting better. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. So in 1991, Jacek, you Ayse and Steve came to your place in Poland. They actually came over.
Yes.
So was that?
Yes.
Please tell me you managed to be able to see them live, that you could afford to go to that one. What?
Of course, I was there. I was the organizer.
Oh, right. Oh, wow. So you organized it. Of course you were there.
Yes,
wow.
Of course.
So you organized, and through emails, and Ayse and Steve came over to Poland, and you organized that trip for them.
Yes.
Amazing.
Joe, he organised it so we can go for free. So everyone else had to pay to be there. You see, clever.
Oh wow! So what was that experience like, Jacek? Because up to that point, you'd read a lot and you'd spoken to Insu, but you didn't actually hear her live. So
that was another thing. That was also very interesting thing, because solution focus was totally unknown. No one. The only two of us, me and my wife. There were two people probably at that time. There were only two people in the whole Poland, in the whole country, who knew a little bit about solution focus. So when we invited people to go to this meeting, it was a kind of a small conference. They were totally. It was totally strange ideas for them, and of course when Insu. When Insu and Steve, when they told about the basics of solution focus, how the session can be set, what kind of questions can follow, the people were accepting that. But when they started to talk about working with clients without the resistance, people started to oppose, and there were some people who said, no, it shouldn't be like that. You should broke people before you can help them before you can support them to build something new. First, you need to break down all these old habits, all these old, beliefs. First, you can demolish all of that before you can help them to build something new. And that was also because some of these people have this kind of experience themselves, because they went through this kind of a therapy based on this. So that was something that was, in a way, a construction, the very basic thing for their identification. And that was a good reason for them to oppose, to not to agree to what Insu said. And what Insu did, that was also amazing for me, because she listened to them and said, okay, if it works for you, one of our ideas is if something works, you should follow that. You do not need to agree with me. Yeah. That's my way of working, and that's your way of working. So if it works for you, if it works for your clients, you can do that. You do not need to change anything. And I was amazed, not to fight with these people. This was like an example, solution focus on life, just a clear example how to do that.
Yeah, rolling with the resistance in the audience.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful example.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
And so where after the conference, Jacek, I guess, because you've done many things since then. So what after the conference? Where did you go from there? How did you start introducing the solution focused approach and the training into Poland?
Yeah. We started to present. First of all, we were practicing solution focus with our clients. That's first of all. Yeah. So we were just putting that into life, but. We also try to present about solution focus. We were attending actually any conference we were able to in Poland, and we were presenting on solution focus. We were presenting on ideas. We were presenting about our experiences with that. And of course, it was not so easy, because we were criticized very, very much. by people, and you know, the worst were the conferences of the psychological associations or psychotherapists, not psychotherapists, psychiatrist associations, because these people, you know, I'm psychologist by my basic education, as I said, but that was the most difficult for me, because I would say to this conference, psychologists and psychiatrists are consider themselves to be very wise, you know. So when I said about solution focus, any time that was a kind of a wise comment, you know.
Yeah.
For example, I remember once, you know, a very, very important professor of psychology in Poland, who listened to what I presented, and she said, well, Mr. Lelonkiewicz, that's my surname. So, Mr. Lelonkiewicz, if I'm correct, all you have said is very similar to such and such psychological theory. And I didn't know anything about this theory. So I was not able to agree or disagree. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know, maybe, but it's good for me. So, well, I was obviously ignorant, and I shouldn't obviously be allowed to present anything on this conference because of that, because I was not able to tell my opinion on, well, the similarities or dissimilarities, but, well, that was, sometimes it was difficult. So, but still, we were presenting, we were trying to attract people to very short trainings. And then in '94, I went to Milwaukee. I was invited by Insu and Steve to join the Milwaukee program there.
Wow.
And I spent a month there. In Milwaukee, I met Plemen Panayotov from Bulgaria. We were living in the same hotel room, you know. That was funny. And it can be difficult for you to understand, you know, why, but still, because we were both from the post-Soviet countries, and we were in the age, both of us, we were in the age that we were forced to learn Russian for years when we were pupils and students. So when I met Plemen, I asked him if he would, because I do not speak Bulgarian and I did not expected him to speak Polish. So I asked him if he maybe want to communicate in Russian. And he said, no, English only. Like trauma, you know, for both. Not Russian, just English. So we were living in the same room, and we were talking English only. And after several years, we tried to invite people for bigger trainings, and then the bigger trainings grown up, and we started our training programs for people, and you know, now we are training people on the basic level, on the advanced level, and we also offer people some kind of a training to be certified officially in Poland in our health system, to be certified as solution-focused psychotherapists, which is a kind of an official certification, officially recognized certification, and that's for me, that's a very. I'm very glad that we were able to do that. Because sorry.
Was it how widely accepted and used is solution-focused therapy in Poland now?
Well, I think it's very popular, actually. I know, you know, that many of our students, as we started the oldest that mass, solution-focused mass in Poland, so many of our students and the students of our students are offering trainings, shorter or bigger trainings now. And I think that every year, I guess about at least 300 people are trained in solution focused on any level in Poland. That's my guess. So I think that's a lot of people. And when we started, it was like as I told you, no one knows anything about that. That was like what we are talking about. And now when we are talking about solution focused, people there's very often that people tell me, well, we know that we've been to the training. Sometimes people say, well, we know your name because we heard that you have started that in Poland. So that's I think that's very popular now. And the people who use that the people use that in many settings, in very different settings, from social work to mental hospitals, and police officers also are familiar in places about this. So I think it's very popular.
Yeah, that was my next question in terms of what kind of settings is it being used and with what kinds of populations, client populations, and the like.
So you're welcome. That was my answer.
I was going to ask you, Jacek, because when you presented to the conference and the psychotherapist basically said, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then you said something about you went on to train in solution-focused psychotherapy. Did I hear that right?
Yep.
So did you add the word psychotherapy to make it more acceptable, or what was the reason for putting? Because I don't use psychotherapy. I'm a practitioner. I'm not a therapist. I put my hands up. I'm a practitioner. I cannot diagnose you. I cannot medicate you. So yeah, when did you add the word psychotherapy?
Why? Why did I? Yes. Because I wanted to. We wanted to. We wanted the approach to be recognized, officially recognized. From my experience in Poland, at least in Poland, I don't want to say that it is for everywhere, for anywhere, but at least for Poland, if the approach is not recognized as useful for psychotherapy, helping people to change in a deeper, whatever that means, deeper way. People do not consider that to be a serious thing, to be a serious approach. So if I didn't want to be, let's say, pushed into the corner by the others, if I wanted to make a space for this approach to be, developed in the country, it was necessary. It was necessary to fit to the system, actually, to the system. So that was the reason, actually. That was the reason why we've done it. Not an easy thing, because it's the training for certification is very long. It consists of 1,400 years. Sorry, not years, hours.
I was going to say that is very long.
That would be a miracle.
That would be a miracle, yes. Hours, 1,400 hours. So that's a big training. Yeah. And we need also to present, at least in that training, to put into the training some kind of a knowledge, some kind of a practice that comes from other approaches, which is that is necessary because of the rules. That's not our idea. That was necessary because of the rules. But I also think it's very useful for people to know, to have a little bit wider perspective.
Yeah.
Not to be in position because when people are coming, for example, I can see that when people are coming from to us just after they finished universities. You know, they got this this kind of let's say basic education, because we consider, well, that's my private opinion, but university is a basic education. You know.
Yeah. Gil's an emeritus professor. What do you say? Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
I agree with Jacek.
I lost you. I'm sorry.
No. Gil agrees. Yeah, carry on. It's fascinating because it's interesting what you're saying, because in the UK there are governing bodies for certain types of things. You know, psychological associations.
Yes.
And let's be honest, they look down on solution focus. But what you did was actually make it more acceptable in the wider stream.
Yeah.
Sounds like you took a very Ericksonian approach to spreading solution-focused therapy.
Maybe. I just, you know, that the reason was I got this personal experience. That was my personal experience, that it is so useful to use this approach for clients, you know, in any setting, actually, any kind of clients. And when I see any kind of clients, because I was using that approach, myself, I was using that approach with mentally disturbed people. I was working with addicted people, you know. I was working with so-called healthy people who came because of stress, because of family troubles. I've been using that approach, you know, with social work clients. So many settings, and I always have a feeling that clients benefit a lot. So that will be, if I allowed, you know, this big approaches to push us, you know, on a side. That will be not my loss, because I would practice solution focus anyway, but that will be the loss for the clients. Therefore, I decided that I need to do what I can to make a space for the approach to be recognized, to be learned, you know, to be taught.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you, Jacek, because like you said, you could have continued using that approach with your clients, and you know, had a job to do, but you had this urge to get it further out there. Why didn't you just stay in your own practice and let everyone else worry about what they were doing? What drove you to do that? To introduce it to a whole country. I mean, we're having difficulties to introduce it into one borough in London, let alone a country. I mean, why didn't you just do that? Why? Because I'm
persistent.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm persistent.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, you compared to Jacek going on a pilgrimage.
It was,
to find Insu. So he found the light, and he wanted to share it with others.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh wow. So obviously, once you'd added the criteria, you know, the 1,400 hours. I think what you were saying is some sort of psychoeducation, so knowing about different approaches. It then became more acceptable.
Yes.
And did you notice what other benefits were there for the therapeutic world in Poland? What other benefits were they seeing apart from, all right, now it's got an official label?
Well, honesty is, to be honest, I was just thinking about the clients, mostly about the clients. That was my motivation. not to allow them to minimalize us, to do that. I think that, well, at the beginning, if I can say, at the beginning, I have this kind of this urge to change my colleagues, to turn them to solution focus. That's obvious. Everyone has this. But later I realized that it doesn't matter really, because we solution focused people and people who practice the other approaches, we are doing good things for our clients. We are helping people, really helping people.
Yeah.
Practitioners who are responsible in their work, who are professional in their work, we all help our clients. It does not make a big difference which kind of approach you practice. That also comes from the researches, about the results of using different approaches. The same result for any, or similar result for any. I do not try to convert people to become solution focused now. But I think that clients should have a choice. People are making a choice of. Clients are making a choice of the therapy, the approach which fits them the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they should have the biggest choice, the biggest possible choice. And that's why I think I'm happy when I see that the solution focus is growing up, because that is offering a choice to the clients.
And do you think that they're finding that there needs to be less intervention? It's the clients don't need to be in therapy for so long. Are the authorities noticing that with solution focused?
Not yet, I think. I can hear from time to time that the authorities appreciate that. That's what I would say. But it's not the main reason why, at least at those days, it's not the main reason why, for example, our solution focused psychotherapists are employed by institutions. That's not the main reason. The main reason is because they are certified. Because they have this officially recognized certification. They can show I'm a psychotherapist. It has to be accepted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the certification comes from the state?
No, certifications came from that's the system. That's the system for the whole country at that moment. Each officially recognized association which fits to some kind of standards, officially state recognized standards. Each association is supposed to certify, following some kind of a procedure, certify practitioners, psychotherapists in each approach. And that certification, if it fits to the standards, has to be approved, has to be recognized. So that's the system, not the state association is responsible for that.
So there are these standards, and you and your solution focus colleagues help fit solution focus into the standards, solution focus therapy training to fit with the standards. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Very good. Yeah.
The standards for training, standards for the certification procedures. All of this is in a way standard. Standard.
Ayse, have you put? Is it Mariana? Have you put Mariana?
Yep, I'll put it on again.
Well,
Oh,
I
sure.
noticed that. Thank you, Mariana.
She's hoping to do the same in Serbia. What? You've travelled this road. What advice would you give her?
What advice?
Yeah,
Not-
come on, Jacek.
Maybe they should
Don't allow- Mariana, don't allow them to stop you.
Yeah.
maybe they should bring Jacek to Serbia as a consultant.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well, it's a nice country. That's a nice
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So, I mean, you've done so many wonderful things. I know you're obviously not just introducing the approach into Poland, but making it an acceptable intervention rather than something that's just whatever. Do you have any? Because I love client anecdotes. Are there any clients that stand out for you, Jacek, where you thought, well, when you started to first use solution focus, and you thought, yeah, this is excellent. I love this.
Well, there are a lot of clients. I tried to collect these stories at the beginning, but later I decided, there are more and more, and I stopped to do that, actually. So it can be difficult for me. But there is, for example, a client. Well, I can tell you a story. That's the story I love to talk to my trainees, because it helps people. I believe it helps people to not to be trapped with this idea about being forced to be brief, to work briefly. Because for example, there is a client, I work with her for over 10 years using solution focus.
Wow. So not very brief, Jacek.
Well, it's hard to say it's brief, yes, in terms at least of a number of sessions. But fortunately, what we know as solution focused practitioners, we know that being brief does not mean that you need to be brief in time. It means that you need to follow some set of rules, some set of practices with your work. And well, she's changing, she's the client who's changing over these years. Well, and it's of course a kind of a challenge for me to work with the same client for such a long time. Many times I was frustrated, many times I was asking her, many times actually. Well, actually, there were 3 times I asked her if it's not going so fast as we could wish. Maybe it would be better for her to change the therapist or change the therapy approach. And the answer was no. Does it mean that you don't want to help me? That was her answer.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I said, no. Hang on, no, that's not the idea. I just want to help you more. But she said, well, I'm happy to work with you. I'm happy to talk with you. So after the third, trial and the third answer like that, I decided no more. I'm just going to work with her as long as she wish. And that's all. That's it, So we continue, and she's changing. She's making a lot of changes for her life. She was in a very difficult situation, emotional and personal situation, coming from a very difficult, very hard family situation at the beginning. So in a way, I understand some reasons why it can take so much time, for her. And I do not say no, because I want to help her. If it has any sense for her, and if he does not want to change the therapist, well.
Yeah.
From time to time, I used to tell her, we need to achieve some results, because I'm going to die someday, So
Yeah, no pressure.
Well, you need to motivate your clients.
It's like, please change before I die.
Yes.
Oh man,
I'm actually going to use that.
Yeah.
I am going to use that. Thank you.
I think I would get away with that more than you, Ayse. I'm closer. Yeah.
Don't be silly.
Oh wow. Oh god. So, Jacek, what's next for you? Where are you? What's because obviously you've done amazing things already. Is there anything left? Are you content with how things are?
Well, that's only the question I ask her. I'm still going to live for a time.
Yeah.
For some time, yeah. So I hope it's a lot of things in front of me. I don't know.
Yeah. What
not
about
going to die yet?
Yeah. So, what's the next step for you? I know you have a website. I know there's plenty of information on there. You've got you're involved in EPTA. Have you written or co-written a book? If I got that right, Gil, this is normally your area of expertise, bro.
I wrote some articles, of course, and some of our trainees told us. Well, it was actually the first time. It was years ago that we need to write a book on solution focus about our experiences, and I'm thinking about that, because from my perspective, practicing solution focus for all these years, and actually, I'm a member of EPTA from the very beginning, from the first conference in Bruges. So I'm observing the changes this approach is coming through for all these years, and I have my own ideas about that, of course, about these changes, about all this stuff with solution focus 2.0, solution focus to 1.0, whatever, simple therapy, all these questions, they are coming over and over on the list, for example, discussing list, for example, if solution focus can be combined with other approaches, if you can use a mixture, or how to do a mixture of different approaches. I'm observing that through all these years, and I got my own point, on all of this, and I think I'm going to write something about this. And maybe it wouldn't be anything very, very new, but that's a kind of wouldn't say summary, but it's a kind of point of view that helps me to put things into order, to systemize. Should I say so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Systematize.
Systematize. Oh yeah, I knew that I said something wrong. Systematize my understanding of solution focused practice. So yeah, that's something I can say for sure. It's in front of me. Yes.
That's music to Gil's ears, isn't it, Gil?
Gil loves to collect literature and books.
Well, yes, I do. I have. I like to collect literature, the latest stuff, but also like the original stuff as well. And So I've co-hosted with Joe and Ayse several times beforehand, so I always search for any publications or written stuff, and so I was having trouble finding something. So I was wondering if you published in Polish, Jacek.
Well, that will be a quite natural way to publish it in Polish. But if anyone would be interested, to have it in English, I will be only delighted.
A lot of that probably might be up to the publisher. I did find something that there was a book or a collection of presentations from, it looked like EBTA in 2018, and
Yes.
you had a chapter in there. And I couldn't find a copy. I saw the title on minimalism.
Yes.
In solution-focused therapy. So, could you tell us a little about what you said in that article? Like I said, I couldn't, or that chapter. I couldn't find it.
So many years ago, I don't remember.
It said it was after 2018.
So many things happened over these years. Well, no, the general idea, my general point about minimalism is that, nothing new, I think, because the minimalism should be considered to be the result of our actions, our approach to working with the client, shouldn't be considered to be anything, sacrificed, anything like a goal for a goal. Mm-hmm. It's not important to be, that my story about my client tells that, yes, that I'm not very much interested in being minimalistic just to be minimalistic. I think that we should follow the rules of solution focus, which helps the client, not us, because I'm not reaching anything. The client can reach the goal, so which can help the client to reach the goal in the shortest time, the briefest time that is possible. That's my general idea, my general point about minimalism in psychotherapy. So I do not see the reason, for example, to cut off any. Well, in that way, I'm very traditional. I do not see much reasons for cutting off or to resign from, any parts of this traditional structure. Mm-hmm. Because I see good reasons for each of this. Each is coming after the one. Each is following. Each is coming after one, because they are very useful for the client from the very beginning. From this there's this problem-free talk. When I do not do a problem-free talk with the client, it's much more difficult sometimes for me to recognize in what kind of the therapeutic relationship I am with the client at the beginning, at least, and it's therefore it's much more difficult for me to build the better, to work on on developing the therapeutic relationship, good relationship, cooperation, for example, more cooperative relationship with the client. So therefore, I appreciate each of this part, from the very beginning. The second, sometimes people say, why to come back? That was someone who once said, why to come back to, why to use this. Second part of the schema is about the problem. Yes. We are asking the client why, what make the client thinking that he or she should see us at that very moment. which seems to be like I'm asking a client about the problem, because sometimes people are answering about the answers are about the problems, yes, that brought them to the therapy. But actually, from my point, that's a question about the change, the pre-session change. Because when I'm asking the client, what was too much for you, I'm asking about what has forced you to change, to make a first step. So I see the good reason for each of these steps. Of course, I do not. There is no need to ask all these questions, to go through all these points. For example, in my practice, it's not always when I ask the miracle question, for example. But when it is useful, when it is a good moment in a conversation with a client to ask about such kind of a change in his or her life, that's just miraculous change. Well, I'm very happy to ask this question. But like it was, and it is sometimes used by some colleagues. This miracle question is used to develop the better description of the goal, because some people use this miracle question to develop the better description of the goal. Yeah. When I get the really good description of the goal in the previous step, there is no need sometimes to ask the question about the miracle. Oh, the other story about the client.
Okay.
And the miracle question, which I was not able to ask. There was a client who came to me after several years, came to see me again with the other problem. So he knew, in a way, my way of asking questions, and he described he described the reason he got for visiting me this time, and I started to ask him about the goal, and we developed the description of the goal, and I of course asked the client. I wanted to feel sure that it would be a good description, a useful description for the client. So I asked about the scaling, how useful it will be to achieve this goal, so described goal for the client. And the answer was 100%. So I, get my brief to ask a miracle question. And at that moment, the client moved a little bit to me and said, "Oh, you are very wise." I was surprised. I said, "Well, it's nice. It's nice to hear, but I don't know why. Why you told me that? Oh, you are very wise." It was like this movie with De Niro, yeah, this the depression, gangster depression or something, yeah. With De Niro, "You're very wise." And I said, "Okay, so tell me, explain me something." And the client told me, "I know what to do. I know what to do." "Are you sure? You really know what to do?" "Yes, of course, I know what to do. It's absolutely clear." So I said, "Okay, so what's the sense to ask a miracle question? What's the sense to ask about no exceptions? No reason to do that." So I asked the client only, tell me on the scale, how sure you are that what you know you should do will be helpful for you. 100%. Okay, do you need anything else? No. So therapeutic break, compliments, the feedback compliments, and either I didn't know what the client gets, what the idea the client gets from this, developing the goal, my homework for the client, because I always use the homework. My homework for the client was, well, so you know what to do. Do that.
And it didn't take 10 years of therapy to get there.
No, that was about half an hour.
It's amazing.
It's been a wonderful chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We have come to the end. Any last words from any of you? Very, very nice gentlemen.
I wish we could go on longer.
Yeah, it's been really.
I have more questions.
Yeah, it's been really a very, very enjoyable. I'm in awe of you because of the way that you were satisfied with the approach, but it was more than that, and the way you developed it into a whole nation, and that's fantastic. And thank you for answering. I hope the questions weren't too awful, but thank you for being honest and open. It's been a wonderful experience, Jacek. Thank you, and thank you, Gil, because Gil's always on hand for us, and we love Gil. And yeah, thank you, Jacek. It's been really interesting, actually, really thought-provoking.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your experiences and your wisdom, and I'm sure a lot of people in Poland appreciate what you've done for solution-focused therapy in Poland.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure that Gil, that you told that because you now you know that your accent is not the worst in the world.
There's nothing wrong. I'm very humble. I'm nothing wrong with accents. I learned that early in my life. As long as you can understand each other.
Thank you.
That's a good joke, Jacek. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacek.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this conversation. I'm really happy that I was able to answer your questions. And if any of that has any sense to anyone else, that Mariana, that I would be happy. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.
Yeah, and it's been a wonderful and very useful conversation. Unfortunately, we have come to the end. This is my part where I draw this evening to a close. If I can ask you guys to just stay there for a couple of minutes so we can say a private goodbye, so don't go anywhere. And to the rest of you, we will see you tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., I'm assuming, with Peter Sarbo. That's tomorrow evening with our co-host. So we'll see you then.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.